Okay, fundamental number 7, the last of our fundamentals in our mental game series.
Effective practice.
Effective practice.
This is really close to my heart because I've been coaching for a lot of years, and I do see a lot of golfers really put a lot of time and effort into their practice, but with very little reward because most of it's block practice. Most of it is technical practice.
Okay, so let's run through what block practice actually is. My understanding of block practice is standing there, pointing at a target, same shot, same swing,
same club,
same everything, repetitive, bang, bang. So 37 irons in a row.
And it's useful when we're trying to work on something technical, we're trying to groove a new move or something like that, it is very useful. But it doesn't develop skills.
Sure.
And what we're suggesting is that a third of our practice needs to be much more creative, much more random and versatile. And then another third of our practice really should be much more competitive.
Sure.
And thereby we're recreating what happens out on the golf course much better. Because let's face it, driving range doesn't look like a golf hole.
Yeah. I think that's the point that David's making in the book.
Yeah.
In this part of it is that every one of the three, competitive, block and creative, have their place.
Yeah, of course they do. Of course they do. So if you just did skill development, just did competitive practice, then you're not really improving technically, and you're not taking your lessons on board, and you're just going out and playing. So there's no real effort to improve. However, if you're just doing block practice, then you're not developing the skills that you need to actually score and take what you're learning on the range out on the golf course.
We used to see that from the range junkies, you know,
for sure.
where they can just hit a beautiful 7-iron one after another, but you get them out onto the course.
Yep. Suddenly they've got an uneven lie.
Uphill lie with a different lie.
Or there's
different
water
grass,
next to the pin.
Slightly out of rough.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
And
So it really is, I mean, third is good because you're not neglecting any part of your practice regime. And a good example of overdoing it, I've got a young player, an elite player that I coach. He's off at 2 handicap. He's practicing really hard. He's hitting a lot of balls. Hits it great here, but out on the golf course, the scores aren't improving because he's not developing those skills. So what I've got him to do now is to shape a lot more shots and play a lot more different clubs, use a lot more different clubs out on the range. And I've asked him to actually text me some practice scores. So what I mean by that, his couple of weak clubs are his 4-iron and his driver. So I've got him to hit 4-iron at a specific target. I've given him a green on the driving range to hit. He's got to hit 10 shots. He's got to hit 3 with a fade, 3 with a draw, and 4 straight ones. And he's got to text me how many he gets on the green. And then he's got to do the same with the driver. 3 fades, 3 draws, 4 straight ones to a specific target fairway that we've set up there for him. It's 20 metres wide, and he's got to text me how many out of 10 he hits. But he's only allowed to do each skills challenge once.
Sure.
Because then if you start to overdo the same skill challenge over and over again, it just becomes block practice again.
And would you put what he's doing there in competitive?
Yes. Okay. Yes, I would. But I've also included some creative, different, variable type of practice because I'm making him shape shots as well.
Yeah, so he's going to warm up with block practice, groove his swing in, get comfortable, so get his strike going.
Yep.
He's then going to move on to what I call random practice, you know, where he's going to play a few holes. Mental imagery comes into it, which we've talked about in previous videos, where he starts to say, okay, well, I'm out on a hole here and hit a drive and hit a 7-iron and then hit a wedge and do some random style practice. And then right at the end, test his skills.
For sure. And it's got to be accountable. And that's why I get him to text me. I want him to record his scores on a phone. Most of my clients that I work with this type of skills development, I've asked to record their results of their practice on their phones or in a book. Okay. It's the 21st century. It's mostly on the phones nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a bunch of apps and a heap of other stuff. And we could probably leave a few links for people.
Yeah. Most of the time I just use the Notes app.
Yeah, okay. Nice and simple, nice and free.
Yeah, exactly. All like free. And on my phone, I've got different putting games that I play. I'm always trying to beat what best score I've had at a putting game or a driving game or an approach game. There's loads of different games you can come up with. You're only limited by your imagination.
Yeah.
And what we're doing there is we're recreating that pressure, and that's where a lot of golfers really haven't prepared themselves for, is actually playing on the golf course with a scorecard in their pocket.
Yeah. And we really do see that a lot
of
guys
course we
that
do.
just hit it so good on the
And
range.
good players
And
too.
complain about that as well.
Yeah.
I hit it so good on the range and I can't take my range swing to the course.
Well, that's how you do it. More effective practice. 1/3 block, 1/3 random, or creative, whatever you want to call
whatever
it,
you want to call it.
and 1/3 competitive. But have some accountability to that competitive practice. It's got to mean something.
Yeah. Fundamental number 7, very important.
Wrapped up.